Last week, my screen time was an average of 7 hours a day, with most of it scrolling through endless short form content or just plain binge watching. Upon checking it, I was shocked, so I decided for 7 days I will quit my phone addiction, quit consuming endlessly to see what happens to my focus, my motivation, my discipline, my mental health, and overall my life in general.
This was the hardest part of the challenge for me because I had to essentially resist the physical muscle memory of instantly grabbing my phone when I woke up.
What I did was that before I went to sleep, I'll put my phone either all the way downstairs as I live in a 3-story house or all the way in the corner underneath my bed.
I did this to create some discomfort and actually force myself to have a productive morning.
So I spent 1 hour every morning without my phone. I would wake up, instantly pull back my curtains to trigger that natural cortisol spike from daylight so I wouldn't get sleepy and be tempted to go back to sleep. Did my morning routine, made my breakfast, 6 bomber claw eggs by the way. If you know, you know. Put my clothes on and headed outside to the gym.
Listen, I'm no scientist, so I don't really know the full scientific explanation of many things. But what I do know is that instantly taking away my phone and not using it for the first hour of the day allowed me to essentially remove that low effort dopamine, which allowed my brain to become more comfortable at being uncomfortable. It sounds like a bad thing, but I noticed my focus was a bit more sharper, and being bored more often without scrolling on my phone allowed me to essentially come up with more ideas, creative ideas I would have never have come up with before. After day 1 and 2, day 3 was pretty much the same, but day 4 and day 5, I had noticed that many tasks that I kept on my backlog thanks to my chronic procrastination, absolutely chronic unfortunately, I had actually started them. For example, my personal coding projects. I'm preparing for my dissertation, and I remember saying to myself before the summer holidays that I'm going to spend the whole summer cranking out projects. I'm doing this because I need to improve my skills at system design and programming so I can, for one, get ahead, and 2, ultimately become more hireable in today's job market. Fast forward to now in August, and I barely touched it. In fact, I started 2 weeks ago and I haven't touched it since. And now I started it, and whilst I was doing it, I was actually enjoying it. And after I finished it, I actually felt rewarded. It was the same feeling I got after a workout, you know, after you smash some heavy weights.
With short form content, it's literally like a slot machine. When you scroll for an hour, your brain is constantly stimulated, which makes real life tasks such as reading, working out, or even extracurriculars painfully boring by comparison.
By taking away compulsive scrolling or just limiting it and replacing it with something productive and actually beneficial, which is very important, you are making a much better use of your time and setting yourself up nicely by upskilling, which will be very beneficial down the line in any path you decide to go down in the future. I actually ran into a problem. I noticed that because I was so locked in, I was finishing things a lot earlier. I was finishing my workouts earlier and my personal projects earlier, and because of that, I had nothing to do afterwards. I'm not really that religious, but there's something you should know is that idle hands are unfortunately a devil's plaything. As I had a lot of free time on my hands, it's very easy to fall back into your vices or just bad habits in general. In my case, it was my phone.
So I had to get moving. I simply went outside for more walks, hoping I could do more side quests as well, but because of where I live, nothing happens here.
But simply moving more was not enough.
I had to incorporate more hobbies. I had to research what hobbies I would potentially be interested in, so I went on a very long rabbit hole until I settled upon reading. Boring, I know.
But hey, at least it gets the job done.
I researched some more on books, specifically educational books that would give me a huge ROI as I'm spending time reading them, and I would like to learn skills I could apply into my life, so I bought Man's Search for Meaning. I bought this because 1, I'm a man, and 2, it delves in really deep into the psychological behavior around the choices we make as humans, the power of external influences, and what life should expect from us from the choices we make. I would read before I slept, when I woke up to pass the first 60 minutes, and read after I finished everything for the day.
This day was actually the smoothest of them all, which was quite unorthodox because it's very easy to screw up in the disguise of rewarding yourself now that you're about to cross the finish line. But I didn't screw up. I stuck with my routine and actually finished this, which meant I finally finished the challenge that I had set for myself. Day 7 being as easy as it was made the end of this challenge a bit anticlimactic, but I'm happy. I'm happy I managed to actually conquer this mini challenge. Well, my thoughts. 7 days, I know, is not enough to fix all my problems, but what it gave me was my time, my discipline, my mental clarity back, and the prerequisites to go 30 days and beyond. There's 2 things I'd like to clarify. 1, for you to have a decent chance of not slipping, you have to delete the apps off your phone. People may suggest blockers, but what I found with blockers was that it may work initially, but eventually I would end up finding myself outmaneuvering the blocker, so actually deleting the apps added an extra step of protection. As if I found myself trying to re-download it again, I can actually stop, think to myself as to why I shouldn't do this, and ultimately stop myself in the process. 2, you may have heard this time and time again, but I cannot stress this enough. You have to replace the habit. It doesn't have to be a habit with a lot of friction. It could be a low friction passive alternative like reading, even if it's just 2 pages, or going out for a walk, or listening to a podcast. Literally anything that promotes mental clarity. That is the end. If you relate and or resonate to this, let me know your thoughts down below. I hope I was able to offer some potential insights or solutions, or just anything useful in general, as I believe this is a common problem amongst those in their 20s or even teens in general. If you can and are willing, make sure to hit the sub button for more and better content like this. I'm gonna go edit this now, and yeah, goodbye.